Osho, Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, Volume 2, Discourse number 34, Tape 2.
About that, they are always absolutely right. Their language differs. A Buddha speaks in a different language, Jesus in different, Krishna in different. They use different textual knowledge. They use different techniques, devices. But the central core of their teaching is the same. And that, if you allow me to say, is how to attain total awareness. Awareness is the basic teaching of all the enlightened ones. They use many parables, techniques, devices, symbols, myths, but those are irrelevant. You can cut them off, you can put them aside. Just bring out the basic core. That basic core of all these awakened persons is awareness. So Jesus goes on saying to his disciples how to be more awake, not to be sleeping, not to move in dreams. Be alert, be awake. He used to tell a parable. He said once it happened, a great master, a very rich man, went on a far away journey. He told to his servants that they have to be alert always, because any moment he will be back. Any moment, he said. And whenever I come, the house must be ready to receive me. Any moment I can come back, so be alert. The servants even could not sleep. Even in the night, they had to be ready. Any moment the master can come. Jesus used to say that you have to be alert every moment. Any moment the divine can descend in you. You may miss, because the divine knocks at your door and you are fast asleep. You will miss. You have to be alert. The guest can come any moment. And the guest is not going to inform you beforehand that I am coming. Jesus said, just like those servants of that master, remain alert continuously, aware, waiting, watchful. Any moment, the divine can penetrate you. And if you are not alert, he will come and knock and will go back. And that moment may not be repeated soon. It may take, no one knows how many lives again when the divine will knock at your door. And if you have become habitual of sleep, you may have missed that knock many times already, and you may miss again and again. Be alert. That is the basic core. All else has to be used. So just because Jesus says the earth is flat, he doesn't become unenlightened. And because you know the earth is round, you don't become enlightened. It is not so easy. Enough for today.
Osho, Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, Volume 2, The Book of the Secrets, a New Commentary, Discourse number 35, given in Bombay, India.
One of the greatest poets, Walt Whitman, is reported to have said, I contradict myself because I am big. I contradict myself because I contain all the opposites, because I am all. The same thing is said about Shiva, about Tantra. Tantra is the search for the rhythm of opposites, of contradictions. Contradictory opposite standpoints become one in Tantra. This has to be deeply understood. Only then you will be able to understand so many contradictory, different techniques. Life is a rhythm between opposites, male and female, positive and negative, day and night, birth and death. Between these opposites moves the river of life. These opposites are the banks. They appear to be contradictory but they are cooperative. The appearance is false. Life cannot exist without this rhythm between the opposites. And life contains all. Tantra is neither for this nor for that. Tantra is for all. Tantra has no standpoint of its own really. All the standpoints possible are contained in it. It is big. It can contradict itself because it contains all. It is not partial. It is the whole, and hence it is holy. All partial standpoints are bound to be profane. They cannot be holy. They don't contain the opposite. They may be logical, rational, but they cannot be alive. Wherever life exists, it exists through its opposite. It cannot exist alone. The opposite is a must. In Greek mythology, two gods are the polar opposites, Apollo and Dionysus. Apollo is the god of order, discipline, virtue, morality, culture. Dionysus is the god of
Commentary. Discourse number 35. Given in Bombay, India.
One of the greatest poets, Walt Whitman, is reported to have said, I contradict myself because I am big. I contradict myself because I contain all the opposites, because I am all. The same thing is said about Shiva, about Tantra. Tantra is the search for the rhythm of opposites, of contradictions. Contradictory opposite standpoints become one in Tantra. This has to be deeply understood. Only then you will be able to understand so many contradictory, different techniques. Life is a rhythm between opposites, male and female, positive and negative, day and night, birth and death. Between these opposites moves the river of life. These opposites are the banks. They appear to be contradictory, but they are cooperative. The appearance is false. Life cannot exist without this rhythm between the opposites. And life contains all. Tantra is neither for this nor for that. Tantra is for all. Tantra has no standpoint of its own really. All the standpoints possible are contained in it. It is big. It can contradict itself because it contains all. It is not partial. It is the whole, and hence it is holy. All partial standpoints are bound to be profane. They cannot be holy. They don't contain the opposite. They may be logical, rational, but they cannot be alive. Wherever life exists, it exists through its opposite. It cannot exist alone. The opposite is a must. In Greek mythology, two gods are the polar opposites, Apollo and Dionysus. Apollo is the god of order, discipline, virtue, morality, culture. Dionysus is the god of disorder, chaos, freedom, nature. Both are polar opposites. More or less, almost all religions are based on the Apollonian standpoint. They believe in reason, they believe in order, they believe in virtue, they believe in discipline, control. Really, they believe in the ego. Christian standpoint also. It believes in nature. It believes in chaos. It believes in laughing and dancing and singing. It is not just serious. It is both. It is serious and unserious, both. Nietzsche writes in one of his letters that I can believe only in a dancing God. He couldn't find any dancing God. Had he known anything about Shiva, then his story of life would have been totally different. Shiva is the dancing God. Nietzsche knew only about the Christian God. It is just only a standpoint. Very serious. Sometimes the seriousness of the Christian God looks absurd, childish, because the opposite is denied completely. You cannot conceive a Christian God dancing. Impossible. Dancing looks to be too earthly. And you cannot conceive Christian God laughing. Or can you? It is impossible. The Christian God cannot laugh. Laughter will look too worldly. The Christian God is the very spirit of seriousness. Nietzsche couldn't believe in it. And I think no one can believe in such a God because it is half, it is not the whole. Only persons like Billy Graham can believe. Somewhere Billy Graham says very seriously that when you are reading sexy magazines, remember, the God is looking at you. This is foolish. You are reading a sexy magazine and God is reading you reading sexy magazine. This very attitude is stupid. And the stupidity consists in, because it doesn't contain the opposite. You will become stupid if the opposite is denied. And you will become dead. But if you can move to the opposite easily, there is no contradiction. You can be serious and you can be laughing. And you can sit like a Buddha. And you can dance like a Krishna. And there is no inherent opposition between these two. You can move from being a Buddha towards being a Krishna easily, smoothly. And if you can move, you will be alive. And if you can do this, you will be a tantric. Tantra is the basic search for the rhythm which adjusts between the opposites, for the river which flows between the opposites. So Tantra goes on working for all and every technique possible. Tantra is not for someone, it is for all. Every type of mind can move through Tantra. Every type of mind cannot be Christian. Every type of mind cannot be Hindu. Every type of mind cannot be Buddhist. A particular type of mind will be attracted by Buddha and a particular type by Jesus, a particular type by Muhammad. Shiva contains all. Every type possible, Shiva can have appeal for. The total, the whole, has been taken in. It is not a partial standpoint. That's why Tantra has no sect. You cannot create a sect around the whole. You can create a sect only around a segment. You can live the whole, but you cannot create a sect. A sect can be created only when you are for something and against something. If both the opposites are contained, how can you create a sectarian mind? So Tantra is the essential religion. It is not a sect. Hence, so many techniques. People go on coming to me and they go on asking, so many techniques. And one technique contradicts the other. Yes, it contradicts the other. Because it is not meant for a particular mind. In these 112 techniques, all the types, all the possible types of humanity have been included in. You please don't be concerned with all the techniques, otherwise you will get confused. You simply find out that which suits you, that which appeals to you. Towards that, you will feel a deep affinity, attraction. You will fall in love with that technique. Then forget all 111, the remaining, forget them. You just stick to one that works for you. Only one technique is for you in these 112. If you try many techniques, you will get confused. Because to try so many techniques, you will need a very big mind which can absorb contradictions. That's not possible right now. One day it may become possible. You become so complete, so total, that you can move easily. Then there is no problem. But then there is no need also. Right now is the need. Find out your technique. I can be helpful to you to find out which technique will be suitable to you. And if you feel that other techniques are contradictory to the technique that suits you, don't think about them. They are contradictory, but they are not for you. At least now they are not for you. One day it may become possible. When you don't have the ego within, then you can move to the opposite without any problem. Only the ego creates the problem. It is stuck somewhere, clings to something. It is not liquid. It cannot fill up. And Shiva is flowing in all directions. So remember, don't start thinking about these techniques, that this technique is against that. Shiva is not trying to create a system here. He is not a system maker. Shiva is giving all the techniques without any systematizing. They cannot be systematized. Because a system means the contradictory, the opposite must be denied. And here the opposite is included. It is both Apollo and Dionysus. It is serious and laughing both. It is immanent and transcendent both. It is earthly and unearthly both. Because it is all. Now we should enter the techniques. First technique. Imagine a spirit simultaneously within and around you until the entire universe spiritualizes. Imagine a spirit simultaneously within and around you until the entire universe spiritualizes. First, you must understand what imagination is. It is very much condemned nowadays. And the moment you hear the word imagine, you will say, this is useless. We want something real, not imaginary. But imagination is a reality. It is a capacity. It is a potentiality within you. You can imagine. That shows that your being is capable of imagination. And this capacity is a reality. Through this imagination, you can destroy yourself or you can create. That depends on you. And imagination is very powerful. It is potential power. What is imagination? It is getting into an attitude so deeply that the very attitude becomes reality. For example, you may have heard about one technique which is used in Tibet. They call it heat yoga. The night is cold, snow is falling, and the Tibetan Lama will be standing naked under the sky, open sky. The temperature is below zero. You will simply start dying. You will get frozen. But that Lama is practicing a particular technique. And that technique is that he is imagining that his body is a burning fire. And he is imagining that he is perspiring. The heat is so much that he is perspiring. And actually he starts perspiring. And the temperature is below zero. Even the blood will get frozen. And he starts perspiring. What is happening? This perspiration is real. His body is hot. But this reality is created through imagination. You just try some simple techniques so that you can feel how reality can be created through imagination. And unless you feel it, you cannot work through this technique. Just count your pulse. Sit in a closed room, count your pulse. And then for 5 minutes, just imagine that you are running. Just imagine that you are running. And it is hard. And you are taking deep breaths. And you are perspiring. And your pulse rate is going high. After imagining for 5 minutes, again count. And you will come to know the difference. Your pulse rate will be high. You have worked. Just by imagination, you were not running really. In old Tibet, Buddhist monks used to do exercise only through imagination. And those techniques can be of much use for modern men. Because it is difficult to run in the street. Difficult to have a long walk. Difficult to find a lonely street. You can just lie down on the floor in your room and imagine that for 1 hour continuously you are taking a long, fast walk. Just in imagination, go on walking. And now, even medical experts say that same will be the effect as of a real walk. Once you have to get in tune with your imagination and the body starts functioning. And many things you are already doing without knowing how your imagination goes on working. Many times you create many illnesses just through imagination. Because you imagine that now this disease is there, infectious. It is all over the place. You have become receptive. Now there is every possibility you will fall ill. And that illness is real. But the illness has been created through imagination. Imagination is a force, is an energy. And the mind moves through it. And when the mind moves through it, the body follows. It happened once in a university hospital in the United States. 4 students were trying one experiment in hypnosis. Hypnosis is nothing but imagination power. When you hypnotize a person, he is really falling into deep imagination. And whatever you suggest, it starts happening. So they suggested many things to that boy they had hypnotized. 4 boys trying hypnosis on one. So they tried many things. Whatsoever they said, immediately the boy followed. They said jump, the boy started jumping. They said beat, the boy started beating. They said tears are flowing from your eyes, tears started flowing. Then just in a joke they said, now lie down, you are dead. And the boy lied down and he was dead. It happened in 1952. And then in the United States, they have made a law against hypnosis. That no one should try it unless some research work is involved. Some medical institute or some psychological department of an university should authorize you, only then you can experiment. Otherwise it is dangerous. The boy simply believed. Imagine he is dead and he was dead. If death can occur through imagination, why not life? Why not more life? This technique is based on the power of imagination. Imagine a spirit simultaneously within and without and around you until the entire universe is visualized. Just sit in a lonely place where no one disturbs you. A lonely, secluded room will do. Or if you can get somewhere outside, that will be better. Because in nature, when you are near nature, you are more imaginative. When around you, only man-made things are there, you are less imaginative. Nature is dreaming, and it gives you a dreaming force. Alone, you become more imaginative. That's why you are afraid when you are alone. Not that ghosts are going to trouble you. Your imagination can work. And your imagination can create ghosts or anything you like. When you move alone, your imagination is more potential. When someone else is there, your reason is in the control. Because without reason, you cannot be related to the others. With others, you are related by your intellect, by your mind. So the mind goes on working. When there is no one, the mind collapses. You regress to a deeper imaginative layer of the being. You are alone. Then imagination starts functioning. Many experiments have been done about sensory deprivation. If a person can be deprived of all sensory stimuli, you are closed in a room, soundproof, no sound enters in it, no light enters in it, no possibility of being related to any other human being, no pictures on the walls, nothing in the room with which you can relate. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and you will start relating to yourself. You will become imaginative. You will start talking to yourself. You will answer and you will question. A monologue will start in which you will be divided. And then suddenly you will start feeling many things which cannot penetrate. You will start hearing sounds. And the room is soundproof. No sound can come in. Now you are imagining. You will start smelling perfumes and no perfume is there. Now you are imagining. 36 hours of deprivation. And you cannot make any difference what is real and what is imaginary. Impossible. 36 hours of sensory deprivation and imagination becomes reality and reality becomes illusory. That's why in the old days, seekers will move to the mountains, to the lonely places, where they can lose the distinction between real and unreal. Once the distinction is lost, your imagination is in full force. Now you can use it, and you can be creative through it. This technique is sit in a lonely place. If the surrounding is natural, it is good. If not, then a room can also do. Then close your eyes and imagine that within and without a spiritual force is filled. Within you, a river of consciousness is flowing. And it is going all over the room, overflowing. Within and without, around you, everywhere, spirit is present. Energy is present. And not only imagine in the mind, but start feeling it in the body. Your body will start vibrating. And when you feel that the body has started vibrating, it shows the imagination has started functioning. Feel that the whole universe by and by is spiritualized. Everything, the walls of the room, the trees around you, everything has become non-material. It has become spiritual. The matter is no more. And that's the reality also. Physicists say that matter is illusory. Energy is real. And wherever you are seeing solid things, that solidity is just in the appearance. It is not there. The deeper physics enters into the world of matter, matter disappears. Only immaterial energy. Only energy remains. Indefinable. Through this imagination, you are reaching to that point where by your conscious effort, you are destroying the structures of the intellect, the patterns of the intellect. You are feeling there is no matter, only energy, only spirit, within and without. Soon you will feel that within and without have disappeared. When your body becomes spiritual, you feel it is energy, then there is no distinction between the within and the without. The boundaries are lost. Now there is only a flow, an ocean, vibrating. And this is the real also. You are reaching to the real through imagination. What imagination is doing? Imagination is only destroying the old concepts, matter, old patterns of the mind, which goes on looking towards things in a certain way. Imagination is destroying them, and then the reality will be revealed. Imagine spirit simultaneously within and around you until the entire universe is spiritualized. Until you feel that all distinctions have disappeared, all boundaries dissolved, and the universe has become just an ocean of energy. And that's the fact also. But the deeper you will proceed in the technique, the more scared you will become. You will feel, are you going mad? Because our sanity consists in distinctions. And the sanity consists in this so-called reality. When this reality starts disappearing, you will feel simultaneously your sanity is disappearing. Saints and insane persons move in a world which is beyond our so-called reality. They both move. But insane persons fall down and saints go beyond. And the difference is very small but very great also. If without any effort on your part, you lose your mind, the distinctions, the real and the unreal, you will become insane. But with conscious effort, if you discard the concepts, you will become unsane, not insane. And that unsanity is the dimension of religion. It is beyond sanity. But conscious effort is needed. You should not be a victim. You should remain a master. It is your effort which is destroying the patterns of the mind. And then you look into the unpatterned reality. And the unpatterned reality is the only reality. The patterned reality is just imposed. That's why now anthropologists say that every society, every culture looks at the same reality, but finds a different reality there. Because their patterns, their concepts are different. So many cultures are there in the world. Primitive cultures. They look at the same world in a very different way. Their interpretation is totally different. The reality is the same for us and for them. But the pattern to look at through is different. For example, Buddhists say that there is no substance in the world. World is a process. There is nothing substantial. Everything is in movement. Or even that may not be the right thing to say. Movement is the only thing. When we say everything is in movement, again the old Pharisee, as if there is something which is moving. Buddhists say there is nothing which is moving, only movement is there, all that is. So in a Buddhist country like Thailand or Burma, they don't have any corresponding word for is in their languages. When for the first time Bible was translated into Thai, it was a problem how to translate. Because in the Bible it is said God is. You cannot say. In Burmese or in Thai, God is. You cannot say. Whatever say will mean God is becoming. Everything is moving, nothing is. When a Burmese looks at the world, he looks at movement. When we look, and particularly the Greek-oriented Western mind, when it looks, there is no process, only substance. That things are there, not movements. Even when you look at a river, you see as if the river is. The river is not there. The river just means a movement, something which is constantly beginning, and will never come to a point where you can say it has become a process without end. We look at a tree, we see the tree is, but the Burmese language has nothing to say. They can only say the tree is becoming, the tree is flowing, the tree is growing, the tree is in process. If a child is brought with this pattern in the mind, that everything is a process, the world, the reality will be totally different. For you, it is different. And the reality is one and the same. But what mind you bring to it to interpret it, then it changes. So remember one basic thing, that unless your pattern of the mind is thrown away, unless you are depatterned, unless your conditioning is thrown away and you are deconditioned, you will not know what reality is. You will know only interpretations. Those interpretations are workings of your own mind. Unpatterned reality is the only reality. And this technique is to help you to unpattern, to uncondition, to dissolve the words from the mind which have gathered there. And you cannot look because of them. Whatsoever looks real to you, let it be dissolved. Imagine energy, not substance. Nothing is static, but process, movement, rhythm, dance. And go on imagining until the entire universe is spiritualized. If you persist, within 3 months, you can move to this feeling. Just working 1 hour every day. But intensively. Within 3 months, you can have a different feeling of the whole existence around you. Matter is no more there. Immaterial, oceanic existence, just waves, vibrations. And when this happens, then you know what God is. That ocean of energy is God. God is not a person. God is not somewhere sitting on a throne in the heaven. There is no one. God is the totality of all that is. This whole creative energy of existence is God. But we have a pattern of thinking. We say God is the creator. God is not the creator. Rather, God is the creative force, the very creation itself. In our minds, it has been forced again and again that somewhere in the past, God created the world. And then and there, creation finished. And Christians have a story that within 6 days, God created the world. And on the 7th day, He rested. 7th day, Sunday is a holiday. God took a holiday on that day. In 6 days, He created the world forever and ever. And then there has been no creation. After the 6th day, there has been no creation. This is a very dead concept. Tantra says God is the very creativity. Creation is not a historical event happened somewhere in the past. It is happening every moment. Every moment God is creating. But again, the language creates the problem. When we say God is creating, it seems that God is someone who goes on creating. No, the very creativity that goes on moving and moving, every moment, that very creativity is God. So you are in creation every moment. And this is a very lived concept. God created somewhere, and then there has been no dialogue between man and God. There has been really no connection, no relationship. He created and the thing was finished. Tantra says every moment you are being created. This is a very lived concept. Every moment you are in deep relationship with the divine, with the source of creativity. Through this technique, you will have glimpses of the creative force, within and without. And once you can feel the creative force and the touch, the impact of it, you will become totally different. You will never be the same again. God has entered you. You have become an abode. Second technique, with your entire consciousness, in the very start of desire of knowing no. With your entire consciousness in the very start of desire of knowing no. The basic thing about this technique is entire consciousness. If you can bring to anything your entire consciousness, it will become a transforming force. The transformation happens whenever you are entire in it. Anything. But that's difficult. Because wherever we are only in parts there, never in entirety. You are here listening to me. This very listening can become a transformation if you are entirely here. This very moment, here and now. If your entirety is listening, that listening will become a meditation. You will enter a different realm of ecstacy. A separate reality. But you are not entire. That is the problem with human mind. It is always partial. A part is listening. Other parts may be somewhere else. Or maybe asleep. Or maybe thinking about what is being said. Or going inside. That creates division. And division is dissipation of energy. So to anything, if you can bring your entire being, when you are not holding anything back, not even a minute part is there separate. You have taken a jump, totally, whole. Your whole being has come into it. Then any act becomes meditative. It is reported that one day Rinjai was working in his garden. Rinjai was a Zen master. Somebody approached. The man had come to ask some philosophical questions. He was a philosophical seeker. He didn't know that the man who is working in the garden is Rinjai himself. He thought he may be a gardener, a servant. So he asked, where is Rinjai? Rinjai said, Rinjai is always here. Of course the man thought this gardener seems to be mad, because he says Rinjai is always here. So he thought it is not good to ask anything to this man again. So he started moving to ask someone else. Rinjai said again, don't go anywhere, because you will not find him anywhere. He is always here. But he escaped from this madness. Then he inquired others and they said, the first man you met, he is Rinjai. So he came back and told that, forgive me, I am sorry. I thought you are mad. But I have come to inquire something. I want to know what truth is. So what should I do to know it? Rinjai said, do whatsoever you want to do, but do it entirely. The point is not what you do. That is irrelevant. The point is that you do it entirely. For example, Rinjai said, when I am digging this hole in the earth, my entirety is there in the act of digging. There is no Rinjai left behind. The hole has gone into the digging. Really, there is no digger left, only the digging. If the digger is left, then you are divided. For example, you are listening to me. If the listener is left, then you are not entire. If there is only listening and there is no listener left behind, you are entire here and now. And this very moment becomes a meditation. Shiva says in the sutra, with your entire consciousness, in the very start of desire, of knowing, no, a desire arises within you. Tantra doesn't say to fight it. That is futile. No one can fight a desire. And that is foolish also. Because whenever you start fighting with something within you, you are fighting with yourself. You will go schizophrenic. Your personality will be split. And all these so-called religions have helped humanity by and by to go schizophrenic. Everybody is split. Everybody is divided and fighting with himself. Because so-called religions have told you, this is bad, don't do this. And the desire comes, so what to do? Then you go on fighting with the desire. Tantra says, don't fight the desire. That doesn't mean that become a victim to it. That doesn't mean that indulge in it. Tantra gives you a very subtle technique. Just in the beginning when desire arises, be alert with your entirety. Look at it with your entirety. Become the look. Don't leave the looker behind. Bring your total consciousness to this arising desire. This is a very subtle message, but wonderful. Miraculous are its effects. Three things have to be understood. First, when a desire has already arisen, you cannot do anything. then it will take its full course. It will complete its circle. You cannot do anything. Just in the beginning something can be done, and the seed will be burnt then and there. Once the seed has sprouted, and the tree has started growing, it is difficult. It is almost impossible to do something. Whatsoever you do will create more anguish, dissipation of energy, frustration, weakness. When the desire arises just in the beginning, just the first glimpse when you have, the first flicker that a desire is arising, bring total consciousness, entirety of your being, and look at it. Don't do anything, nothing else is needed. Just the look is so fiery with the entire being that the seed is burnt. With no struggle, with no conflict, with no antagonism. Just a deep look with the entire being, and the arising desire disappears completely. And when a desire disappears without fight, it leaves you so powerful, with such immense energy, with such tremendous awareness, you cannot imagine it. If you fight, you will be defeated. And even if you are not defeated and you defeat the desire, that too will amount to same. No energy will be left. You will feel frustrated whether you win or get defeated. In both the cases, you will be weak in the end. Because the desire was fighting with your energy. You were fighting with the same energy and the desire was taking from the same source. You both were taking from the same source. The source will be weakened, whatsoever the result. But if desire disappears just in the beginning, without any conflict, remember this is basic, without any fight, just a look, not even antagonistic look, not even with the mind to destroy it, with no enmity, just a total look, and that intensity of total look, the seed is burnt. And when the desire, arising desire disappears, just like smoke in the sky, you are left with such tremendous energy. That very energy is bliss. And that will give you a beauty of its own, a grace. The so-called sins who are fighting their desires are always ugly. And when I say ugly, I mean they are always mean, fighting. Their whole personality becomes graceless. And they are always weak. Always lacking energy. Because their all energy is taken in the inner fight. A Buddha is totally different. And the grace that has come to Buddha's personality is the grace of disappearing desires without any struggle and fight, without any inner violence. With your entire consciousness in the very start of desire are of knowing. No. In that moment simply know, look, see. Don't do anything. Nothing else is needed. All that is needed is your total being should be there, present. Your total presence is needed. This is one of the secrets of achieving the ultimate enlightenment without any violence. And remember that you cannot enter into the kingdom of God with violence. No. Those doors shall never open for you. Knock, howsoever. Knock and go on knocking. You may break your head, but those doors will not open. And for those who are deep inside, non-violence, not fighting with anything, those doors are always open, they will never close. Jesus says, knock and the door shall be opened unto you. And I say to you, there is no need even to knock. Look, the doors are open. They have always been open. They were never closed. Just a deep look. Entire, total, whole. Third technique. O Shakti, each particular perception is limited, disappearing in omnipotence. O Shakti, each particular perception is limited, disappearing in omnipotence. Whatsoever we see is limited. Whatsoever we feel is limited. All perceptions are limited. But if you can become aware, then every limited thing is disappearing into the unlimited. Look at the sky. You will see a limited part of it. Not because the sky is limited, but because your eyes are limited. Your focus is limited. But if you can become aware that this limitation is because of the focus, because of the eye, not that the sky is limited, then you will see the boundaries melting into the unlimited. Whatsoever we see becomes limited because of our seeing. Otherwise existence is unlimited. Otherwise everything is melting into something else. Everything is losing its bounds every moment. Waves are disappearing into the ocean. And there is no end to anything. There is no beginning. Everything is everything other also. Limitation is forced by us. It is because of us. Because we cannot see the infinite. We divide it. It's just, we have done everything. You make a fence around your house and you say, this land belongs to me. And beyond the fence is somebody else's land. But deep down, your and your neighbor's land are one. And the fence is just because of you. The land is not divided. Neighbors and you are divided because of your mind. Nations are divided because of your mind. Somewhere India ends and Pakistan starts. And just a few years back, where now Pakistan is, was India. Then India used to continue up to the limits of Pakistan, the present limits. But now, Pakistan is divided. There is a barrier. But the land remains the same. I have heard one story. When India and Pakistan were divided, there was a madhouse, a mad asylum, just on the boundary of India and Pakistan. And politicians were not very much worried where that madhouse goes, to the Pakistan or to India. But the superintendent was very much worried. So he asked, inquired where this madhouse is going to be, whether it is going to be in India or in Pakistan. So somebody from Delhi informed that it is better you ask the inmates, the madmen, and take a vote, wherever they want to go. The superintendent was the only man who was not insane. So he tried to explain. He gathered all madmen together and told them that now, it is up to you wherever you want. If you want to go to India, you can go to India. If you want to go to Pakistan, you can go to Pakistan. But those madmen said, we want to remain here. We don't want to go anywhere. He tried and tried. He said, you will remain here. Don't worry about it. You will remain here. But where do you want to go? Those madmen said, people say we are mad, but you are looking mad. You say you will remain here. Then we are going to remain here. Why worry about going anywhere? The superintendent was at a loss. How to explain the whole thing? So there was only one way. He erected a wall and divided the madhouse into equal parts. One part became India, another part became Pakistan. And it is reported that sometimes madmen from the Pakistan madhouse just come over the wall. And the madmen from India, they also jump over the wall and they talk. And they are still confused. What is happening? We are in the same place. And you have gone to Pakistan and we have gone to India and no one has gone anywhere. Those madmen are bound to be at last. They will never be able to understand because in Delhi and Karachi, bigger madmen are there. We go on dividing. Life, existence are not divided. All demarcations are man-made. They are useful if you don't go mad about them. And if you know that they are just artificial, man-made, utilitarian, but not real, not true. They are just myths. They help. But they don't go any deeper. This sutra, O Sakti, each particular perception is limited, disappearing into omnipotence. So whenever you see anything limited, always remember beyond the limit, it is disappearing. The limitation is disappearing. Always look beyond and beyond. This you can make a meditation. Just sit under the tree and just look. And whatsoever comes to your look, just go beyond. Look beyond. And don't stop anywhere. Just find out where this tree is melting. And this tree, a small tree just in your garden, has the whole existence in it. It is melting every moment. If the sun is not going to rise tomorrow, this tree will die. Because this tree's life is bound together with the life of the sun. It's very long, the distance is very long. Sun rays reach, they take time, 10 minutes time to reach the earth. And 10 minutes time is very long, because light travels at a very fast speed, tremendous. Light travels in 1 second, 186 lakh miles. In 1 second. 10 minutes it takes for the light to reach this tree from the sun. The distance is tremendous, vast. But if the sun is no more there, the tree will immediately disappear. They exist together. The tree is every moment melting into the sun, and the sun is melting into the tree. The sun is every moment entering into the tree, making it alive. The other thing is yet unknown for science, but religion says the other thing is also happening. Because in life, nothing can go without response. If the sun is giving life to the tree must be giving life back to the sun. Because in life, there is always response. And energy equals. The tree must be giving life to the sun. They are one. Then the tree has disappeared, the limitation has disappeared. Wherever you look for the beyond. And don't stop anywhere. Go on and on and on. Until you lose your mind, until you lose your unlimited pattern. Suddenly you will be illumined that the whole existence is one. That oneness is the goal. And suddenly mind is tired of pattern, limitation, boundary. And you insist to go beyond. You go on putting it beyond and beyond, and then the mind slips, and suddenly the mind has stopped. And you look at existence as a vast oneness. Everything is melting into each other. Everything changing into the other. Both of these, each particular perception is limited, disappearing in omnipotence. You can make a meditation out of it. sit for 1 hour and work it out. Don't create any limitation anywhere. Whatsoever the limitation, just try to find out the beyond and move and go and move. So the mind becomes tired. Because with the unlimited, mind cannot cope. Only with the limited it can be limited. With the unlimited it cannot be limited. It gets bored, it gets tired. It says enough, no stop, but don't stop, you go and move it. A moment will come, mind is left behind, only consciousness is moving. In that moment, you will have the illumination of oneness, of non-duality. That is the goal. That is the highest peak of consciousness. And that is the greatest ecstasy possible to human mind. And the deepest bliss. Fourth technique. In truth, forms are inseparate. Inseparate are omnipresent being and your own form. Realize each as made of this consciousness. In truth, forms are inseparate. They appear separate. But every form is joined together with other forms. It exists. Rather, it will be right to say it coexists with other forms. Our reality is a coexistence. It is really an inter-reality, an intersubjectivity. For example, think yourself alone on this earth, what you will be. Whole humanity has disappeared. You are alone left after the Third World War, alone in the world, alone on this big earth. Who you will be. The first thing, it is impossible to conceive yourself alone. Impossible, I say, to conceive yourself alone. You will try and you will see that someone is just finished. Your wife, your children, your friends. Because you cannot exist alone, even in imagination. You exist with others. They give you existence. They contribute. You contribute to them, they contribute to you. Who you will be? Will you be a good man or a bad man? Nothing can be said, because goodness and badness exist in relation. Will you be beautiful or ugly? Nothing can be said. Will you be man or woman? Nothing can be said. Because whatsoever you are related to someone else. Will you be wise or foolish? By and by you will see every form has disappeared. With other forms, all forms within you have also disappeared. You are neither foolish nor wise, neither good nor bad, neither ugly nor beautiful, neither man nor woman. Then what you will be? If you go on eliminating all forms, soon you will realize only nothing remains. We see forms as separate, but they are not. Every form is linked with others. Forms exist in a pattern. This sutra says, in truth, forms are inseparate. Inseparate are omnipresent being and your own form. Even your form and the form of the whole existence is inseparate. You are one with it. You cannot be without it. And the other thing is also true, but difficult to conceive. The universe cannot be without you. The universe cannot be without you. Just as you cannot be without the universe. You have been existing in many, many forms, always. And you will exist always in many, many forms. But you will be there. You are an intrinsic part to this universe. You are not aligned. You are not a stranger to it. You are not an outsider. You are an insider, an inherent, intrinsic part. And the universe cannot afford to lose it. Because if it loses you, it will lose itself. Forms are not inseparate. Forms are not separate. They are inseparate. They are one. Only the appearance gives demarcations and boundaries. If this becomes a realization, if you ponder over it, penetrate into it, and if this becomes a realization to you, not a doctrine, not a thought, but a realization that yes, I am one with the universe and the universe is one with me. This is what Jesus was saying to the Jews. But they felt offended. So Jesus said, I and my Father in heaven are one. Jews felt offended. What he is claiming? He is claiming that he and the God are one. This is blasphemy. He must be punished. But he was simply teaching a technique, nothing else. He was simply teaching a technique that forms are not separate. You and the whole are one. I and my Father in the heaven are one. But this was not a claim. This was just a suggestive technique. And when Jesus said that I and my Father are one, he didn't mean that you and the Father and the Divine are separate. Every I he represented when he said I. Wherever I exists, that I and the Divine is one. But Christians, Jews misunderstood him. That can be understood. But even Christians have misunderstood. They say he was the only begotten Son of God. The only begotten. So that no one else claims that I am also. I was reading a very funny book. The title of the book is Three Christs. In a madhouse there were three men, and all the three claimed that they are Christ. So this is actual fact, not a story. So one psychoanalyst studied all the three. And then a thought came to his mind that it would be very funny to introduce them to each other. And what happens? How they introduce and what is their reaction? So he brought all the things and left them in the room. So they introduced. The one said, I am the only begotten Son, Jesus Christ. The other laughed. And he thought in his mind, he must be mad. And he said, right. But how you can be? He said, I am Jesus Christ. You are also part of that whole. A fragment of that consciousness is in you also. But Jesus Christ, that only Son of God, I am. The third part, both fully. They have gone insane. He said, what are you talking? Look at me. The Son of God is here. The psychoanalyst asked them separately then, what is your reason? They said, both are mad. Everyone says the other two have gone crazy. And this is not a case which happens only to madmen. If you ask Christians, then what do you think about Krishna, who claims I am God? They will say that. There is only one penetration of the beyond, and that is Jesus Christ. Only one event in the history when God penetrated into the world, and that is Jesus Christ. Krishna is good, a great man, but not divine, not God himself. If you ask Hindus, they will laugh at Jesus. The same madness goes on. And the reality is, everyone is the only begotten Son of God. Everyone. Otherwise it's not possible. You come from the same source. Whether you are Jesus or Krishna or ABC, anybody, or nobody, but you come from the same source. And every I, every consciousness is immediately related to the divine.
Osho, Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, Volume 2, Discourse number 35, Tape 2.
Jesus was giving only a technique. He was misunderstood. This technique is the same. In truth, forms are inseparate. Inseparate are omnipresent being and your own form. Realize each as made of this consciousness. Not only realize that you are made of this consciousness, realize each around you, everything around you is made of this consciousness. Because it is very easy to realize that you are made of this consciousness. That can give a very egoistic feeling to you, a deep fulfillment to the ego. But to realize that the other is also, then it becomes a humbleness. When everything is divine, you cannot have any egoistic mind. Everything is divine, you are humble. There is no question of your being somebody or something other. Whole existence is divine. And wherever you look at the divine. The looker and the looked at both are divine, because forms are not separate. Underneath all forms is hidden one formless. Enough for today.
The Book of the Secrets, a new commentary, Discourse number 36, given in Bombay, India.
The first question. We have always heard that Tantra is basically concerned with sex energy and sex-centered techniques. But you say that Tantra is all-inclusive. Is there any truth in the former standpoint? The majority of the techniques in Vigyan Bhairav seems to be non-tantric. Is this true? The first thing is to understand sex energy. As you understand it, it is just one fragment of life force. But as Tantra understands it, it is just synonymous with life. Not a part, not a fragment, life itself. So when Tantra says sex energy, it means life energy. And the same is true about Freudian concepts of sex energy. He was also very much misunderstood in the West. It appeared to people that he is reducing life to sex. But he was doing the same thing as Tantra has been doing for so long. Life is sex. The word sex is not confined to reproduction. But the whole play of life energy is sex. Reproduction is just a part of that whole play. Wherever two energies are meeting, negative and positive, sex has entered. It is difficult to understand. For example, you are listening to me. If you ask Freud, or if you ask Tantra masters, they will say that listening is passive, feminine. Speaking is male. Speaking is penetrating you, and you are receptive to it. Between a speaker and a listener, a sex act is happening. Because the speaker is trying to penetrate you, and the listener is receiving. The energy in the listener has become feminine. And if the listener is not feminine, there will be no sense of listening. That's why the listener has to be totally passive. He should not think while listening, because thinking will make him active. He should not go on arguing with him, because argument will make him active. While listening, he should be simply listening, not doing anything else. Only then the message can penetrate and the message can become illumined. But then the listener has become feminine. Communication happens only when one party has become male and another party has become female. Otherwise there can be no communication. Wherever negative and positive meet, sex has happened. It may be on the physical plane. Positive and negative electricity meet. Sex has happened. Wherever polarities meet, opposites meet, it is sex. So sex is a very wide, a very spacious term. It is not concerned with only reproduction. Reproduction is only one type of phenomena which can be included into sex. And Tantra says when inside you, the ultimate bliss and ecstasy comes, it means your own positive and negative pole have come to a meeting. Because every man is man and woman both. Every woman is man and woman both. Because you are born not only from woman or from man. You are born out of a meeting of the opposites. Your father has contributed, your mother has contributed. You are half your mother and half your father. And they both coexist within you. When they meet within, ecstasy happens. Buddha sitting under his Bodhi tree is in a deep inner orgasm. The inner forces have come to meet. They have melted into each other. Now there will be no need to seek a woman outside, because the meeting has happened with the inner woman. And Buddha is non-attached, detached to woman outside, not because he is against women, but the ultimate phenomena has happened within. Now there is no need. An inner circle has become whole. Now it is complete. That's why such grace comes to Buddha's face. The grace of being complete. Nothing is lacking. A deep fulfillment has happened. Now there is no journey further. He has achieved the ultimate destiny. The inner forces has come to a meeting. Now there is no conflict. That is a sexual phenomenon. Meditation is a sexual phenomenon. That's why Tantra is said to be sex-based, sex-oriented. And all these 112 techniques are sexual. Really, no meditative technique can be non-sexual. But you have to understand the wideness of the term sex. If you don't understand them, you will be confused and misunderstanding will follow. So whenever Tantra says sex energy, it means the elan vital, life energy itself. They are synonymous. And whatsoever we call sex is just one dimension of life energy. There are other dimensions. And really it should be so. You see, a seed is sprouting. Somewhere, flowers are coming into the trees. The birds are singing. The whole phenomena is sexual. It is life manifesting. The bird is singing. It is a sexual call, invitation. The flower is attracting butterflies and bees. It is an invitation. Because those bees and butterflies will carry the seeds of reproduction. Stars are moving in their space. No one has yet worked about it. But this is one of the oldest Tantra concepts, that there are male planets and female planets. Otherwise there will be no movement. And it must be so, because the polarity is needed, the opposite is needed, to create magnetism, to create attraction. Planets must be male and female. Everything must be divided into these two polarities. And life is a rhythm between these two oppositions. Repulsion and attraction, coming nearer and going far. These are the rhythms. And Tantra uses the word sex. Wherever the opposites meet, it is a sexual phenomenon. And how to meet your inner opposites, how to make them meet, is all. That is the purpose of meditation. So all these 112 methods are sexual. There cannot be anything else, there is no possibility. But try to understand the wideness of the term sex. Second question, you said that existence is a wholeness, that everything is related, that things are melting into each other, that the tree cannot be without the sun, and the sun also cannot exist without the tree. In the above reference, please explain how ignorance and enlightenment are related to each other. They are related. Enlightenment and ignorance are the two polar opposites. Enlightenment can exist only because there is ignorance. If ignorance disappears from the world, enlightenment will also disappear simultaneously. But because of our dualistic thinking, We always think that opposites are opposites. They are complementary. They are not really opposites. They are complementary because one cannot exist without the other. So they are not enemies. Birth and death are not enemies because death cannot exist if there is no birth. So birth creates the base for death to exist. And birth cannot exist if there is no death. Death creates the base. So whenever someone is dying, someone is being born. At one point death, immediately at the next point it becomes birth. They look opposite. They work in opposition as far as the surface is concerned. But deep down, they are friends, helping each other. This is easy to understand about birth and death. But it will be very difficult to understand about ignorance and enlightenment. Because we think when a man becomes enlightened, ignorance has disappeared completely. This is the ordinary standpoint about enlightenment. It has disappeared completely. No, that's not right. Rather on the contrary, when a person becomes enlightened, enlightenment and ignorance both have disappeared. Because if one is there, the other is bound to be there. The one cannot exist without the other. They exist together or they disappear together. They are aspects of one thing, two faces of one coin. You cannot make one face of the coin disappear and retain the other. When a person becomes a Buddha, really at that moment both have disappeared. Ignorance, enlightenment, both. And consciousness is left, and the opposites have disappeared. Pure being is left. The conflicting, opposing, helping, opposites have disappeared. That's why so many times Buddha is asked, what happens to an enlightened man? He remains silent. He says, don't ask me, because whatsoever I say will be untrue. Whatsoever I say will be untrue. If I say that he has become silent, that means the opposite of silence must exist there. Otherwise, how you can feel silence? If I say he has become blissful, then anguish must exist side by side. How you can feel bliss without anguish? Buddha says, whatsoever I say will be untrue. So he remains consistently silent about the state of enlightened person. Because our all terms are dual. Whenever we say light, and if someone insists, define it, how you are going to define it? You will have to bring darkness in, only then you can define it. You will say light is that where darkness is not, or something like that. One of the greatest thinkers of the world, Voltaire, used to say that we can communicate only if you define your terms first. But that's impossible. You have to define light, you will have to bring darkness in. And then if it is asked what is darkness, you will have to define it by light, which is undefined. All definitions are circular. They used to say, what is mind? The definition was not matter. And what is matter? And the definition was not mind. Both terms are undefined. And you are playing a trick with yourself. You define one term by another term which itself needs definition. Whole language is circular. And the opposite is necessary. The Buddha says, I will not say even that the enlightened person exists. Because existence is possible only if non-existence is there present. So he will not say even this, that after enlightenment you exist. Because existence has to be defined by non-existence. Nothing can be said then. Because whole language consists of the polar opposites. That's why in the Upanishad it is said that if someone says, I am enlightened, no, well, he is not. Because how he can feel that he is enlightened? Some ignorance must have remained. Because a contrast is needed. You write on a blackboard with white chalk. Blacker the board, whiter will be the writing. You cannot write on a white board with white chalk. If you write, there will be no writing. The contrast is needed. If you feel that you are enlightened, that shows the blackboard is just there. Only then you can feel it. If really the blackboard has disappeared, the writing should have also disappeared. It happens simultaneously. So a Buddha is neither ignorant nor wise. He simply is. You cannot put him on any pole of the duality. Both the poles have disappeared. And when they disappear, how it happens? When both the poles meet, they negate each other and disappear. In another way, you can say Buddha is the most ignorant person and the most enlightened both. The polarity has come to its extreme point, and there has been a meeting, and the meeting has cancelled both. The minus and plus have come together. Now there is neither minus nor plus, because they cancel each other. The minus has cancelled the plus, and the plus has cancelled the minus. They both have disappeared. And the pure being is left. Innocent being is left. You cannot say it is wise, you cannot say it is ignorant. Or you can say it is both. Enlightenment means the point from where you take jump into the non-dual. Before that point is duality. Everything is divided. Someone asks Buddha, Who are you? And the last he says, it is difficult to say. But the man insists. He said, something must be said because you are. Something can be said because you are. Something meaningful can be asserted because you are. The Buddha says nothing can be said. I am. But even to say this leads me into untruth. Then the man takes another route. Then he starts asking, are you a man or a woman? Buddha says, it is difficult to say. Once I was a man, but then my whole being was attracted towards women. When I was a man, my mind was filled with women. And when women disappeared from my mind, my man also disappeared with them. Now I cannot say I don't know who I am. And it's difficult to define. When duality is no more, nothing can be defined. So if you are aware that you have become wise, it means foolishness persists. If you think you have become blissful, it means you are still in the world, in the realm of anguish. If you say you feel a very deep well-being, a health, that means disease is still possible. The opposite will follow you. If you carry one, the other will follow. You have to drop both. And the dropping happens when the both meet. So the basic science of all religion is how to allow your inner opposites to meet so they disappear. And not a trace is left. You will disappear with the disappearance of the opposites. You will be no more there. You as you are. Something totally new and unknown. Something unimaginable will have come into being. That something is called Brahma. You can call it God. Buddha prefers the term Nirvana. The word Nirvana simply means cessation of all that was. Cessation of the past totally. And you cannot use your past experience and knowledge to define this new. This new is indefinable. Ignorance and enlightenment are also part of duality. For us, Buddha looks enlightened because we are in ignorance. For Buddha himself, he is none. It is impossible for him to think in duality, in terms of duality. Third question, will you please tell us why Krishnamurti is against technique, whereas Shiva is for so many techniques? Being against techniques is simply one of the techniques. And not only Krishnamurti is using the technique that has been used many times before. It is one of the oldest techniques. Nothing is new about it. 2000 years before, Bodhidharma used it. He introduced in China what is now known as Chan or Zen Buddhism. He was a Hindu monk, a monk from India. He believed technique. Zen is based on no technique. Zen masters say if you do something you will miss. Because who will do? You. And you are the disease. And out of you nothing else can be born. Who will make the effort? Your mind. And your mind has to be destroyed. And you cannot destroy your mind by its help. So whatsoever you do, your mind will be strengthened more. So Zen says there is no technique, no method. There is no scripture. And there can be no guru. But the beauty is, Zen has created the greatest of gurus. And Zen masters have written the best scriptures in the world. And through Zen, thousands and thousands of people attained Nirvana. And they say there is no technique. So it has to be understood that no technique is really one of the foundational techniques. And the emphasis is on no, so that your mind is negated. Mind can have two attitudes, yes or no. These are the two possibilities, two alternatives. Just like everything. No is the feminine and yes is the male. So you can use the method of no or you can use the method of yes. If you follow the method of yes, then there are many methods. But you have to say yes. If you follow no, then there are not many methods, only one. Because there cannot be many no's, there can be many yes. Look at this point. There are so many religions in the world. So many types of theism. At least 300 religions in existence right now. So theism has 300 temples, churches, scriptures. And atheism, there is only one type of atheism, there cannot be two. Atheists have no sects. When you say there is no God, the thing is finished. You cannot differ between two no's, you cannot make any difference. But when you say yes, there is God, there is possibility of difference. Because my yes will create my own God, your yes will create your own God. Your yes may be said to Jesus. My yes may be said to Krishna. But when you say no, then all no's are similar. That's why there are not sects in atheism. Atheists are all alike. They don't have any scripture, they don't have any church. When they don't have any positive attitude, there is nothing to differ. A simple no is enough. The same has happened about techniques. No has only one technique. Yes has 112. Or many more are possible. You can create new combinations. Someone has asked that the method you teach, the dynamic method of meditation, is not included in these 112 methods. It is not included because it is a new combination. But all that is in it is there in 112 methods. Some part in some technique, some other part in some other technique. These 112 are the basic methods. You can create thousands out of them. There is no end to it. Any number of combinations is possible. But those who say there is no method, they can have only one method. You cannot create much out of no. So Bodhidharma, Linchi, Bokoju, Krishnamurti. Really Krishnamurti comes just in the succession of Zen masters. He is talking Zen. Nothing is new about it. But Zen always looks new. And the reason is because Zen doesn't believe in scriptures, doesn't believe in tradition, doesn't believe in technique. So whenever that no arises again, it is fresh and new. Yes believes in tradition, in scripture, in masters. So whenever yes is there, it will have a long, beginningless tradition. So those who have said yes, Krishna or Mahavir, they go on saying that we are not saying anything new. Mahavir says, before me, 23 Tirthankaras have taught the same. And Krishna says, before me, this seer gave this message to that seer gave that message to that, and it has been coming. I am not saying anything new. Yes will always be old, eternal. New will always look new, as if suddenly it has come into being. Because new cannot have traditional roots. It is unrooted. That's why Krishnamurti looks new. He is not. And what is this technique? Denying technique. It can be used. It is one of the subtlest ways to kill and destroy the mind. Mind tries to cling to something. That is support. Mind needs support to be there. It cannot exist in a vacuum. So it creates many types of supports. Church, scripture, Bible, Quran, Gita. Then the mind is happy. There is something to cling to. But then with this clinging, the mind remains. This technique of no technique insists that destroy all supports. So it will insist there is no scripture. No Bible can be of help. Because Bible is nothing but words. No Gita can be of any help. Because whatsoever you come to know through Gita will be borrowed. And truth cannot be borrowed. No tradition is of any help. Because truth has to be achieved authentically, individually. You have to come to it. It cannot be transferred to you. No master can give it to you. Because it is not something like property. It is not transferable. It cannot be taught. Because it is not an information. And if a master teaches you, you can learn only words, concepts, doctrines. No master can make you a realized one. That realization has to happen to you. And it has to happen without any help. Because if it happens through some help, then it is dependent. And then it cannot lead you to ultimate freedom, to moksha. So these are the part of this no technique. Through these criticism, negation, arguments, supports are destroyed. Then you are left alone. No guru, no scripture, no tradition, no church, nowhere to move, nowhere to go, nowhere to be dependent. You are left in a vacuum. And really, if you can conceive this vacuum and are ready to be in it, you will be transformed. But mind is very cunning. If Krishnamurti says you that these are the things, no support, no clinging, no masters, no scripture, no technique, you will cling to Krishnamurti. There are so many clinging to him. The mind has created again a support. And then the whole point is lost. Many people come to me and they say, our mind anguish. How to come to the inner peace, how to attain the inner silence. And if I give them some technique, they say, but techniques cannot help. Because we have been listening to Krishnamurti. Then I ask them, then why you have come to me? And what do you mean when you ask how to attain silence? You are asking for a technique. And you are still going to Krishnamurti to listen. Why? If there is no master, and if the real cannot be taught, then why you are going on listening to him? He cannot teach you anything.